Have you heard about the wines of Occitanie, France? I'm sure you have, as the region comprises Languedoc, Roussillon, and Southwest France. The wines are unique, diverse, delicious, and affordable, with plenty of personality. In fact, organic viticulture in France is mainly concentrated in this region, with 37% of the total area of French organic vineyards. Come along with us as we explore this sun-drenched region of France. Enjoy the video, give it a like and comment on what wine you plan to discover, and then subscribe to our channel for more. Occitanie vineyards, formed in 2016, are distributed on the ancestral soils of the south of France, where the establishment of vines dates back to ancient times. From the southwest to the southeast, from the nearby ocean to the shores of the Mediterranean, going against the Pyrenees Mountains and then leaning against the foothills of the Massif Central, are wine growing areas spread over a vast amount of 263 hectares. Now, this area brings about the historic regions of Languedoc, Roussillon, and Southwest, and it's distinguished by a number of wine appellations which have no equivalent in the whole world. Occitanie wines come in around 60 protected designations of origins and nearly 50 protected geographical indications, IGP. Now, these vineyards today bring together the largest range of appellation wines in the same area, and it's the second largest region of France. The very high quality level they've acquired also make them great ambassadors of incomparable differences of terroir, and served by the specific character of these regional grape varieties, lots of native grape varieties there, and the meshing of different climates. So the wines are not only unique and delicious with personality, but they're ridiculously affordable. So first, let's look at the Languedoc region.
Well, the Languedoc, a very large region, embraces the Mediterranean Sea at the foothills of the Pyrenees and has doubled the vineyard area of Australia. So its proximity to the mountains and the sea and a variety of soil types and climate are just a few natural factors which help produce wines which are consistent from one vintage to the next. Most of the region boasts a Mediterranean climate with clay and limestone soils. Other areas in Languedoc have a continental climate with schist and granite soils. You have low rainfall levels, abundant sunshine, strong winds to help promote natural farming methods and wine production. And because of the variation of climate, soils, and grape varieties, a wide range of styles can be found. The main red grapes from Languedoc are Grenache, Syrah, Mourvedre, Cinsault, and Carignan. And white varieties include Picpoul, Grenache Blanc, Marsanne, Mauzac, Roussanne, Bourboulon, Claret, Muscat, Macabeo, Viognier, and Vermentino, but in France it's called Rolle. The vast majority of wine in France is produced in Languedoc, and Languedoc is considered to be the most green wine region in the world, with many eco-friendly wines, including organic to high environmental value to sustainable and biodynamic. 10% of the world's organic vineyards and 33% of France's organic vineyards are right here in the Languedoc. And let's not forget rosé, because often considered the greatest French rosé producer, Languedoc produces 30% of France's rosé wines. It is a big region, and we are going to taste together now.
So today we're going to taste a red wine together, the Domaine de la Borie Blanche 2019 Minervois La Liviniere. It's 70% Syrah, 20% Mourvedre, and 10% Grenache. And I can't wait to taste this.
It's got a really nice kind of meaty nose to it.
Totally. But it's kind of interesting, Allie, because it's located, the vineyards are located in south-facing amphitheater leaning against the Montagne Noire. And it's the Minervois is the dominant influence of the area of the Mediterranean. So 400 meters above sea level, it's kind of a rare terroir made up of limestone and shale. So that's why we're going to get some minerality, I'm thinking.
Yeah, I get that meatiness. I get this nice minerality. I'm getting black fruit.
Definitely the black fruit. I'm getting a brilliant spice, some, some nice tannins here, some really good structure. So I've got some coffee, black pepper, a long finish.
Definitely
I love
getting the
it.
coffee. But there's also a nice lift to it, that there's a freshness to it. So that
Exactly.
with all this deep darkness, it's elevated, doesn't weigh down on the palate.
Yeah, I think that minerality really pops it up, and the good acid is wonderful. This was harvested manually with the traditional method, temperature control, carbonic maceration for 14 days, which I think is very interesting. And I would pair this because of what you mentioned earlier, and I totally agree. Duck, game, red meats.
Yeah,
This is pretty bold.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the little bit of carbonic maceration gives that kind of fruit push that you get on the front.
Yep.
But quite tasty. I know we started with red wine, but you have another wine from the Languedoc that is not a red wine, right?
No, and it's going to cleanse the palate of sorts. It is a sparkling wine, a Blanquette de Limoux. It's from Michéle Capdepon. It's only $20. It is gorgeous in the glass. It's a richer, fruit-forward wine.
Well, I think it's important while you're sipping to note that Limoux is the home of sparkling wines. It's where the very first sparkling wine came from.
That's exactly right. And this is made in the ancestral method. So it basically ancestral method goes through a single fermentation. The wine is then bottled before the fermentation process is finished, and it produces a wine with a little bit low alcohol, gentle carbonation, a muted sweetness. It's just a lovely, lovely wine. This is medium, it's lemon looking, honeydew melon, little crab apple, green plums. It's really delicious. Dry. It's not sweet. Little minerality. Of course, that's what we're going to find in this region. Sparkling wine for every day. I love it. Yeah, so my palate is now cleansed, and
now that it's cleansed, let's move on.
All right, so now we're going to move to Roussillon, which is one of France's most dynamic wine regions. And definitely, if you haven't discovered the wines of Roussillon, you definitely need to. It's located near Spain's Catalonia region, so it is in the far west. It's shaped like an amphitheater that opens to the Mediterranean Sea. Very sunny. It's cooled by those Mistral winds that come from the north, and it's home to many, many, many micro terroirs. Believe it or not, it has 2,300 and more winemaker families, 28 cooperatives, and 417 private cellars. So also in Roussillon, 24 different grape varieties are cultivated, and they include Grenache Blanc, Grenache Gris, Grenache Noir, and a range of styles within those. Now, it represents only 2% of France's dry still wine by volume. 80% of its production of vin doux, or fortified sweet wines, are found here. 80%. The producers of Roussillon are pioneers of organic and biodynamic farming. And with an emphasis on biodiversity, the number of organic growers have doubled in the last 10 years alone. And I really think the quality of the wines express the region's focus on organic farming. Now, Allie, I think you have two wines, right, from Roussillon?
I do. I have a white and I have a red, both from Roussillon. For the white wine, I have the Domaine du Clos de Fées 2020, Les Sorcières Blanc. This is an $18 wine that is a blend of 40% Grenache Blanc, 30% Vermentino, 20% Roussanne, and 10% Macabeo. Ooh. And Hervé Bizoul is a former sommelier and journalist who started with a few plots of old vines in 1997, and today has more than 74 acres under vine, all organic, as you said. And the Grenache Blanc comes from vines that are from 1945, whereas the Vermentino and Roussanne, were planted in 2011. And I mean, it is just such a beautiful wine. There's something really ethereal about it. I get floral notes and stone fruit, citrus, just such a pretty nose. Oh, it's got this vibrant acidity with this really delicate texture. It's making my mouth water, really nice salinity. And it's saying, please take another sip. I'm like, I gotta talk. I can't take another sip, but I really want another sip.
It's saying,
so
Cindy,
good.
buy me.
So good. Oh, so delicious. I will switch over to red wine now as my mouth waters. My red wine is the Olivier Pithon 2018 Les Rouge, a $25 wine that is 40% Carignan, 40% Grenache, and 20% Mourvèdre. So Olivier Pithon grew up among the vines, and his love of the land and wine began when he was a child. So in 2001, he purchased about 8.5 hectares of land. And then in 2010, he converted to biodynamics. This was a way for him to really understand the soil he was working with, understand his vines and the terroirs. And for this, these are grapes are handpicked and they're matured in concrete. So when you smell this, you can almost smell the winds blowing, like what you were describing, the winds coming down.
Yes.
It's like I can smell them, and the garrigue, the herb and scrub and everything that's growing in there. I get raspberry, I get blackberry fruit. I get this herbal quality, kind of like a little bit of menthol or a sage in there.
Sage. I was going to say sage and rosemary and thyme.
Yeah, and then these earthy mineral notes.
Yeah. Wow.
There's leather on the palate, graphite, lots of minerality, nicely grippy tannins, but this really fresh, juicy, lifted finish. So it's almost like now this is calling me to take another sip. So, I can go back and forth and stick here in Roussillon, but we're going to move over to the southwest of France, where the oceanic influences dominate the vineyards. The great wines of the Southwest are named Madaran, Côte de Gascogne, Fronton, Cahors, or Gaillac. And each appellation is distinguished by the quality of its soil and the native grape varieties that characterize it. So there's so much specificity of the terroir that you cannot lump this into one place, because you have Tannat and Madaran and Malbec and Cahors and Negrette and Fronton. So it's a pretty amazing, diverse area, this southwest of France. Respecting tradition and the environment is of paramount importance to wine growers, winery owners, and winemakers. They farm organically and cultivate exclusively native grape varieties. They're also always exploring methods to modify the genetics of forgotten grapes in order to create those that are disease and climate change resistant, which makes that a high priority in the area. So reflecting on the area's diverse climate and terroir are the wines. There are over 300 grape varieties, 120 indigenous to the region, cultivated in 43 geographical designations. This will satisfy any wine lover's palate. So if you haven't found a wine from Southwest France yet, you better keep pouring, because this is the fourth largest in production in volume in the country. So Cindy, what are you drinking? And I hope this is one of the ones you found that you like, so you don't have to keep drinking.
No, don't worry. I like them all. And for $12, what's not to love about Nature Secrete Saint-Mont 2018? It's a cuvée, it's a blend of Tannat, Penenc, and Cabernet Sauvignon. And it is a blend of 3 terroirs of the appellation near the Pyrenees Mountains, AOC Saint-Mont. So we've got calcareous clays, tawny sands, the clay and limestone, the grapes grown on clay and limestone kind of dominate this wine, but it's fresh and it's, oh my gosh, all organic, authentic, elegant. I love that we have, the Tannat and Penenc, the indigenous grapes here. On the nose.
Penenc is not a grape I've ever had before.
Penenc?
Yeah.
Nor have I. And this is it. It's one part of the blend. So we've got that, like I said, the black fruit, the sweet spice. And then that minerality and the organics. I mean, it's so fresh. It's so pure. That's the beauty of these organic wines. And the Tannat, a lot of times Tannat is, it's bold, it's broad. This is so fresh. This is gentle on the mind and gentle on the palate. And it's just delicious, but it still has that tension. It still has that thread of the structure and the complexity. It's not a lightweight, to be honest with you, even though it's only $12. It is a serious wine that you can, it's affordable, it's within reach,
Right.
and it's absolutely fresh and delicious. It's a beautiful living wine, that's for sure. And I would just go with red meats, roast, like just to put a roast in the oven, poultry. This is great with so many different foods. I'm really impressed by these wines.
I'm still sipping mine that keep calling me back.
Yes, and I will be sipping too. Don't worry. But I will tell you, Allie, whenever I pour a glass from Occitanie France, whether it's Languedoc, Roussillon, or Southwest France, I want to go there again. It's so beautiful. The people are kind and generous, and the food is absolutely authentic and real. And so I hope you enjoy the rest of your wines tonight, Allie. I'm going to enjoy mine. And I hope all of you watching this today enjoyed our episode. Give it a like, give it a comment, and subscribe to our channel for more. Cheers.